Hello people and welcome to another video. The title of this video, you know what is going down. I said I may do one and I'm doing one. So it's DLP, Disneyland Paris versus Walt Disney World. Purely from my own experiences of Walt Disney World and of Disneyland Paris. I haven't stayed on Walt Disney World property yet. My next trip I will be, so I feel like I can truly do like a different resort kind of thing. So staying on resort I can't really comment on apart from watching other people's vlogs and then my own experience at Disneyland Paris. We'll start off with how much, and I did this I did 7 nights, which I know nobody would stay that long in Disneyland Paris because I can also do that many at Walt Disney World. I wouldn't spend that long in Walt Disney World, I would spend longer, but I just thought, you know, that's a fair thing to do. I did included the flights in the package as well. It was from the 26th of September this year for 3 adults, flying out from Manchester to MCO, flying out from Manchester to Charles de Gaulle, and I tried to do kind of mid-range ish. Also, I paid for the dining plan, the regular dining plan at Walt Disney World and what's called half board because they seemed the most similar in dining packages. Disneyland Paris, flights and hotel and then tickets, because that's included. Half board, I then paid for the photo pass for 7 nights at the Sequoia Lodge, which is the hotel I stayed at on my trip, and I really liked it, and I believe it's kind of a mid-range. And then Walt Disney World, I did flights and hotel, and I did Port Orleans because I know that is a mid-range, and obviously you get free memory maker, jeez. So the Disneyland Paris, all the stuff I said was £4,148.85p. I know you could do that a lot cheaper by doing things separately. I know you can get Walt Disney World cheaper. As I said, I went for mid-range just because I stayed at the Sequoia and I knew it was pretty okay. Was a semi-decent hotel. The Sequoia Lodge, I picked Montana room, which is when you're in the main building. If you just pick like kind of the standard room, you could be quite far away from all amenities. So I kind of did it how I did it, like Montana room, so you're in slightly bigger, you have a safe, and I just did the like not the royal room in Port Orleans Riverside, I think it was. Walt Disney World was £5,982.91p, which is a difference of £1,834 and 6p. So that's like, that is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, I would much rather save basically 2,000 extra pounds to go to Walt Disney World than go to like Disneyland Paris, like honestly. And as I said, nobody would ever stay 7 nights. I don't recommend staying 7 nights at Disneyland Paris at all. However, I would recommend staying for 2 weeks, if not, if you can, longer in Disney World. Disneyland Paris, you wouldn't spend 7 nights. I've said that about 5 million times because it's a lot smaller than Walt Disney World. It only has 2 parks and I think it's 7 hotels. Disney World has like God knows how many hotels, 4 normal parks, 2 water parks, multiple golf courses, crazy golf. You have Disney Springs, obviously you have the Disney Village, which is a poor excuse even by old downtown Disney standards. I should also state, with your package and stuff, you don't really get anything extra from Disneyland Paris. You get 15% off at the Disney store, and Walt Disney World, you get that. You also get a $100 gift card. You also get like loads of like 20% discounts off like at Splitsville like lanes, at the House of Blues or whatever. You get a lot of stuff back. So cast members, my experience with cast members is they didn't seem as friendly. Like, you have cast members coming up to you and asking if you're alright and interacting with you. And it very much felt like in Disneyland Paris, nobody came up to me, nobody was kind of like saying, hey, how are you today? Like, it seemed for you to have a decent cast interaction, you needed to go up to them. When I was buying things, and even then it was like a little bit like rude, I thought. I think that's the best way. It was just a bit standoffish, but that is also at the same time French culture, so who are we to criticise that? But then also from a service standard, I ate twice at the park, in the park, and twice at the Rainforest Cafe, and both times it just seemed cast members' service with food was just so slow. At the Rainforest Cafe, it took a while for them to like come over and ask for drinks, what we wanted to order, and like in the parks, we ate at, oh god, what was it called? The Lucky Nugget, I think, yeah, the Lucky Nugget Saloon, which is kind of like a quick service, but they deliver the food to you. They like seat you, but it's still quick service. And I think me and mum just picked the wrong thing on that menu. It wasn't very nice at all. And then the second time, it was somewhere down the back at Frontierland, and it's like something cookout. It was like a barbecue thing, and I had half a chicken wedges, half a barbecue chicken wedges, a brownie and a drink and whatever, and that kind of thing was very good value for money. Yeah, it was just one of those things, like you had to really hunt for very good bargains for food, because it did seem excessively expensive. Like a bottle of Coke was €3.69, and I was there like, that's not even that much in Florida, like for a proper fountain drink. I don't pay that much. Food allergies, this is a big one. I was talking to my friend Lisa about this, because she's recently gone and she has a nut allergy, I believe, and we were tweeting, and I was there like, I thought it was awful. So in the bakery down Main Street, I'm very lucky and thankful that I'm not the biggest fan of nuts in things, unless it's peanuts, then come at me, bro. I'm not a big fan of like nuts in things. It doesn't add anything to me. I'm there like meh. And my mum had gone to get something from like the bakery, so I asked for a brownie, as I do, and we then took it back to the hotel with us, so we had like snacks basically, and I bit into this brownie. I'm like, this has nuts in, and mum said, are you joking? And I went, no, because nowhere in that bakery did it state that it had nuts in. If I had a nut allergy, that's really bad, because you wouldn't, if it doesn't state it has nuts in, like, that's so bad. I would also say, no, going on cast members again, it just didn't seem as organised. They seemed very slow to get people on rides from what I saw. I do have positive things to say. I will say that very, very quickly. I've tried to virtually do it like 50-50 for positives and negatives. So it just didn't seem as organised, like before a parade, like people were like literally, as you could see the floats, people were still crossing the road, and stuff. Like, this was right in front of the castle, which would never happen in Walt Disney World. Like, people pushing their luck, people, well, that always happens in a Disney park, but like people like pushing past, people like standing off of the curb, which happens in Walt Disney World, but like cast members are very quick to nip it in the bud, whereas in France it took a bit. In Paris it took a little bit longer. Also, and I will touch on this again, because I do have a lot of positive things to say for this. They have like a disability zone kind of thing. You have to have the right pass to go and watch the fireworks, and me and my mum were there watching the fireworks, and it was amazing. Everybody in our kind of like creche, people started to like, obviously you don't sit down straight away, like I wouldn't sit down straight away, but people were like stood up and like putting kids on top of their shoulders, and we were like right in front of their castle. Right in front of the castle. There was no need for it at all, and I wish they'd have been like really more forceful in saying to people, sit down, people behind you can't see, because me and mum ended up, we were sat on a bench and sitting kind of like on the back of the bench just so we could see over these people when we were literally right in front of the castle. It was a bit of a piss take, if you do ask me. And then also people sneaking in who didn't have the right pass to be there. There was one time that somebody was very quick and said, no, you can't come in here, you need this pass, and if you do have that pass, you have to go all the way round. One good thing is that everything is so close together. So we got off of an airplane and then tried to find the station, and then found the station. That was very easy to get to. What was then the difficult thing for me, I have such a massive anxiety over travel and not knowing where I'm going. So getting to the train station, I was there like, oh, that was easy, boom, boom, boom. Then trying to find a place to get our tickets to travel on the train to Disneyland Paris was a bit of a nightmare. I wish it was a bit of a nightmare. That's nothing against them. That was like, and we did it, and then it was like, which trains were meant to go, what the fuck is happening. It's quite confusing, and it's not like kind of put up on the thing until like 5 minutes before, which for somebody who has massive anxiety about travel is not a good thing. So just note, if you have travel anxiety, know that they don't put what platform the train is on until like 5 minutes before, which so much stress. Luckily we ended up right where we were meant to be, and you literally get out of the train station and boom, Disneyland Paris is there. You walk through the village, you go to your hotel. Like, it's very, very straightforward. It was like a 15-minute walk every day. Everywhere was in walking distance. That was amazing, because I know everywhere in Florida you can't really walk to. It's all driving or on a boat or on a monorail away. Really good positive is everything's so close together and everything is in walking distance. We walked a lot, and that's actually one thing I like about a Disney holiday. But then that's the thing, the parks aren't as big. So like, especially like the Studios park, I loved it because it felt like old Hollywood Studios to me, but it is teeny tiny. It's so small. We kind of walked around and my mum was like, is that it? And I was there like, mm-hmm. It is a bit of a poor excuse for a park, I think, and yeah, there's room to expand or room to improve. One thing I do love as well is like all of the older rides that we have in Walt Disney World, like Big Thunder, Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, I count as like an older ride too, have all been updated and are all amazing in Disneyland Paris. We have like Space Mountain Mission 2, incredible ride, so good. Big Thunder is a lot like speedier and like smoother, but like Buzz Lightyear, you can take your shooty thing off and shoot, and it was just like a little bit cooler. I'm trying to think of other, I never went on It's a Small World because that song is the most annoying song in the world. I told her I'll get back onto the disability access. So, mentioned probably numerous times that my mum is disabled, and in Florida they have changed the way they do disability access a lot over the years, and I don't think the change is for the best. My mum is very stubborn, and she will not go in a wheelchair unless it is her like kind of last resort. She walks with a stick, and she can't stand still for very long periods of time. She can sit, like sitting's a lot, but she can't stand for very long periods of time. So it used to be in like kind of Walt Disney World, you go, you show like your card, card they used to give you, and you would just go straight through the pass line. Now you have to go, they scan your magic band, they give you a comeback time, you then go away, you then go back, they scan your magic band again, and your whole party go through. And you can only get one thing at a time. You can't get multiple comeback times, which I know people abuse the system, but it would make sense to kind of, you could have two going at the same time, so you could walk to another and then walk back to the one, get on that, walk to another, get a time, walk to the second one you did. Did that make any sense? I hope it did. But in Disneyland Paris, what they have done with disability access is truly remarkable. So you go into guest services and you say like, hi, I'm disabled. And if you're in the European Union, we still are for the time being, you show your like blue badge, your blue disability badge, and then they have this card and they basically have a whole bunch of disabilities. It goes from like if you're autistic, if you have a lower leg amputation, if you have an arm amputation, if you have like wheelchair bound, if you have difficulty standing was one of them. And you kind of look through these disabilities and kind of circle or cross the one that is most related to you. The cast member then looks at that and gives you a pass, tells you where to go. So for my mum's disability, we basically got this pass and you went to the exit of every single ride, and there would be a cast member there, and that's how you got on. You would go through the exit, so you would miss all the theming of a ride, but you would go through and that would be the disability access way. It was very great how they handle disabilities, like props to them. And I know if you had like if you didn't have a permanent disability, so like if you'd have just broken your leg and you're in like a cast, or if you were pregnant, if you went up to them, you would need a doctor's note. You would need a doctor's note and they would give you a different coloured pass, which I thought was a really great idea too. So that's something I wish Walt Disney World implemented, is like kind of either having a doctor's note, or they have like different disability passes from around the world that they can check against, to say, and then like do it that way, like take them through the exit, or have a disability route, or just put them through the fast pass line. I really do think that is the way Walt Disney World is going to have to do it, to get rid of the people who do abuse the system, because there is a lot of people who abuse the system. So there we go. I've gone back to food. The food in general, the most memorable meals I had was in the Rainforest Cafe, and on my vlog I mentioned that I'd never been in one before, so I can't compare it to Walt Disney World. The Lucky Nugget Saloon meal I had, I do think I picked the wrong thing. I had like the Halloween special thing, and it just wasn't good. It was really bad actually. And then we just had like a half chicken and wedges on another day, and that was okay. The food in general isn't the best. It was okay food, but it was very expensive okay food, whereas I still have dreams about some food I have eaten in Walt Disney World. There wasn't really anything memorable that I ate. As I said, maybe I chose the wrong thing, maybe I went to the wrong places. I just think for what it is, the food was quite expensive and okay compared to Walt Disney World. And I know a lot of people say Walt Disney World is crap compared to California, so it's kind of one of those things. Just get a very good standard for food, Disney. Like, come on, just have the same standard for everywhere. Hotel in general. So we stayed at the Sequoia Lodge in Disneyland Paris. I've never been to a hotel in Walt Disney World, however I watch Tim Tracker's vlogs, so I know theming in a lot of Walt Disney World, and I've watched other people's vlogs, so I know like theming in Walt Disney World hotels are like on point. But like the hotel in general like was okay. There was in the kiddie kind of little area that they had, which you didn't really know it was there. The only reason that I knew it was there is because I walked past it, and I saw a kind of picture, like a painted thing there, and I kind of went, oh my god, it's the Rescue Rangers, and freaked out. And my mum was like, what? And I was like, it's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. I'll insert a picture here. Genuinely like lack of theming, and we paid for having like a hot breakfast at the hotel. It was a buffet, kind of feed us up on that, and then wouldn't have to pay for Disney food. The food, man, it was just not good. Like the breakfast at the Sequoia was not good. There was no Mickey waffles or anything like that. It was kind of basically a continental breakfast, and then they had the thing with eggs. I don't like eggs. And then they had sausages, which weren't very nice sausages, and I think there was bacon. 2, and then some potatoes, so that, and you can make toast as well. But it was very much like a continental breakfast with some hot things. So that's something that was like, no Mickey waffles, and I was there like, you're a Disney hotel, have Mickey waffles. Like, is that so much to ask? Just have Mickey waffles. Jeez. The castle. I love Paris's castle. I think it's very, very beautiful. The kind of architecture around it, of the trees and the hills and everything, is truly beautiful. But the best way, and I mentioned this in the vlogs, is it's great and everything, but it doesn't feel like home. It doesn't give me the same kind of warm, buzzy feeling as when I see the castle in Florida. I don't get that when I see Paris's castle. I appreciate it, and it's truly, truly beautiful, and it's lovely, and you know, your girl Aurora is like rocking it up. It's like, oh yeah, that's a castle, woo, oh my god, it's so great. Whereas in Florida, I'm like, I'm home. Like, that's the best feeling, the best way I feel like I can describe it. I put cleanliness. Now, I know from people in the past have said like it's not very clean, there's bits on the floor. I personally never saw any bits on the floor. The toilets, because I went to a lot of them because I was drinking a lot of water, toilets weren't as clean, I didn't think, as Florida standard. They did lack something. Yeah, they just didn't seem as clean. Not really much more to comment on that. Can't comment about anything on like litter on the floor, because I never saw any litter on the floor. However, smoking. When I was waiting for the parade, I literally was like right in front of the castle, and before the parade started there was a announcement over the speakers: can't smoke here unless in a specific smoking zone. And this announcement was made over the speakers, and then literally as the announcement of please no smoking, this is a no smoking area, please go to one of the designated smoking areas, somebody across the way got a cigarette out and lit it up in front of the castle. There were many a cast member around and nobody stopped them, and that would never happen in Florida. Never. Like, and just walking through people's smoke clouds, that aspect of it, I don't want to rush back to Paris at all. So yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan. I feel like I've mentioned it, I don't think I have though. It's not as long to get to. It doesn't take as long to get to Paris as it does to Florida. It takes from my house to getting to like Orlando International Airport, from my house 2 hours in a car, then a 9-hour flight, and then like an hour to get to where we're going. So it's like 11-12 hours. For argument's sake, we'll say 10 to 12 hours of traveling to get to where I need to stay in Florida, whereas from Paris it was the same car journey, so call it 2 hours for argument's sake. It's probably less than that. An hour and a half on an aeroplane, and then like 20 minutes, I'll say half an hour just because it's easier math. So it took 4 hours as opposed to 12. So there's that. That was a really huge positive. I was looking on TripAdvisor to help me compile this list, and somebody wrote that their friend or their relative described it like this: Disney World is a magical place, Disneyland Paris is just a theme park. And I feel like that is exactly how I feel, and I think that's the best way to describe it, and I feel like that is the note I'm leaving on. What are some of the positive things you have about Disneyland Paris, and some of the negatives? Let's keep it a very level. I hope I tried to stay as neutral as I possibly could. Please let me know your positives and negatives about Disneyland Paris, your positives and negatives about Walt Disney World too. I would love to hear. Let's get an open conversation out, and I will see you very soon. Thank you very much for watching. All my links are below.